Sam Disciple here. I'm running a little late on the live. Um, we're watching as the Empire falls, and of course, restore the Snyderverse. Um, Free Palestine. We're getting into this. I want to do this stream, but I want to do it in the context of black and white. I'm using sepia tone. So I'm going to do it in the context of black and white for a reason. And we're going to go into this. This is going to be good. First of all, praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God comes first. Most High God always comes first. There's iconography there with the Lord, Jesus of Nazareth being crucified there. It's just an iconography. It's not to be taken seriously. And I want to just give God praise. If you want to, you can always donate via PayPal to this stream. The stream is brought to you by LIVE Products. LIVE, live now, we're live now. And I just want to introduce you to the different products at LIVE that we have here. We have cleaning products, and we also have here drinking products. Okay, we have drinks. So I'm gonna just introduce you to the LIVE products really, really fast. And we'll get on to the other business at hand. Right. So I'm gonna go from black and white to color for a second. These are the LIVE drinks, natural fruit juices. The only thing in these drinks are the actual drinks, and also we have sugar in them. The lowest level of sugar you'll get, 22 grams of sugar in each drink. The flavors that you're seeing in front of you right now are, this is orange juice, this is fruit punch, this is lime. We have some other flavors that I want you guys to see. So here are the other flavors. You're looking at sorrow. And this here is grapefruit. This is Morby. Now, if you live in the Trinidad and Tobago area, you can place your order for LIVE drinks. You can contact me via WhatsApp or by phone number. The number is 319-4788. 319-4788. So you can contact me via WhatsApp, or you can contact me via the phone number, calling me to place your order. Just a little bit of extra information for you guys before I move on. You can place your orders. If you're placing orders of 25 or upwards, the price of the product in TT dollars is $8. However, otherwise it is $10. If you place an online order for the cleaning products that are here, we have the disinfectant, also known as the all-purpose cleaner. We have the dishwashing liquid. We have the liquid detergent, and we have the fabric softener for clothes. If you're placing online orders, they're $8. But if otherwise, outside of that, if you call me by a phone, the price is $10 for each. Each of these products are 500 milliliters or half a liter. These products are, and they naturally are $10 each outside of what I just said. For the drinks, 25 or more, it's $8. And online for the cleaning products, it's $8, but otherwise it's $10 each. LIVE, live now. We're live now. Okay. As I said, I'm going to go into black and white for this. And let me see what goes on. Okay, the silver screen as well, as if I'm in a movie. uh, but we're going to look at sepia. That's what we're going to use. Okay. All right. So why am I going into black and white? Because think of this as the 60s. This is like the 60s playing itself all over again. But before I can go into that, I want to just leave one more thing for you guys to talk to you guys about, and that is Restore the Snyderverse. What's interesting is Restore the Snyderverse sort of sets the template for not believing everything in mainstream media that you hear. And as a result of that, we have gotten what we've gotten to, and we've reached to where we've reached, where now we're looking at Free Palestine. And one of the pillars of the Restore the Snyderverse movement, the Twitter handle Release the Snyder Cut, now known as Restore the Snyderverse as well, Release the Snyder Cut, he's in support of Free Palestine. Ray Fisher's in support of Free Palestine. So we have certain people who we should be supporting. Ray Fisher right now, he's putting out a Broadway hit, which has to do with Macbeth. You guys go and support that. It's in New York. They are actually playing. And also The Pianist, that should come out very soon on Netflix in November. So support Ray Fisher when it comes to that. Those two you should be checking out soon. But let's start off with Restore the Snyderverse. Some very interesting events have transpired. Check out Brad Curran's recent piece that he did on Restore the Snyderverse. I'll just kind of summarize it in short for you guys. Basically, Brad Curran was saying that the recent events in the New York Comic Con, and not just only that, but also the fact that Restore the Snyderverse hashtag has not been going away anytime soon, it just points to how potent Zack Snyder is when it comes to the DC brand. And then recently, of course, Zack Snyder has had an editorial as well as a interview run with Inverse, which has to do with superheroes, the take on superheroes, and various pieces that he's been editing for Inverse when it comes to superheroes and expanding this the superhero understanding of it. The relevance of it, the mythos of it, and also certain taboos about superheroes that Zack Snyder wanted to venture into and press the anvil on it, almost like a deconstruction, reconstruction of superheroes, which led to trending right now today, which is what you see in the profile picture. Henry Cavill's right now trending as an actor, and Zack Snyder is trending as a producer and a director of movies. And this is not surprising to me. Restore the Snyderverse has been emerging in various iterations, whether it sells Snyderverse to Netflix, whether it's Restore the Snyderverse itself, which is also trending right now, which is also you see various things such as the Snyderverse, or you see Zack Snyder's name, or you see Ben Affleck's name, or you see some sort of actor or producer related to the Snyderverse, but this has not been going away anytime soon. Restore the Snyderverse has been now trending in some sort of iteration, in some sort of form now since 2021, when Zack Snyder's Justice League came out. And that movie, by the way, in every single sort of way has been universally accepted as a good movie, whether it's through Rotten Tomatoes, whether it's through Metadata, Metacritic, whether it's through Google. It has trended, and it has also been rated positively, whether it's by critics or whether it's by the audience. In fact, it's the highest rated Zack Snyder and even Snyderverse right now DC film of all time. In fact, it is the highest rated DC film of all time, actually, by audience score wise, 93%. So having said all of that, let's talk about Restore the Snyderverse and why the Snyderverse is not dead. It just isn't dead. It's just what it is. It's still a topic of conversation now for the last 4 years. And even though the studio has, spoken about the Snyderverse being ending, in terms of not being continued. Even James Gunn himself in the New York Comic Con very recently has spoken about some iteration of the Snyderverse continuing on in his DCU. So that's very interesting. But of course, on social media, in Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, in Facebook groups, and also on YouTube, the Snyderverse is still around, in conversation, in talks, constantly. Restore the Snyderverse has been hashtagging and trending, nonstop. Okay, this has not gone away. It's not going to go away. It's kind of like, an equivalency of this is like Hamas and Hezbollah and the resistance, the Palestinian resistance, and the resistance, the axis of resistance, has not been going away. It's been something that's been there in the Middle East since Israel and the Palestinian Initiative, that is known as Israel, has been forced upon the Middle East. And I would have to say now that we are looking at things in retrospect, very hostilely imposed on the Middle East. We have been seeing the very same thing. And the reason this is happening, by the way, is because more and more the world, at least the empire that has been imposed on the world, and we're not just talking about the American empire, but we're talking about the Western empire that has been imposed on the world for the last, I would say 200 years, 200, 300, 400 years, is now being rejected and pushed back on. Okay. What we call the global South, which is very interesting that it would be called the global South, is pushing against the global North. What we call the West, the Western world, and the acceptance of the Western world. There are many Western values that have been accepted by the rest of the world, but a lot of these values we're not seeing applied uniformly to everyone in the Western world. As such, the Eastern world, if you want to call it that, Asia, the Middle East, Africa, Taiwan, China, India, Russia, they have been rejecting certain aspects of the Western leadership. And, Europe, particularly we're talking about Germany, France, United States, the UK, people within these countries, and also the global South itself, and also the Eastern world and associates have been rejecting now certain initiatives by the Western world to maintain power. And this is why we speak about the Western Empire and not just the American Empire, even though America is and has military installations and embassies all around the world, and it has its notorious CIA. The counterpart to that, the lesser counterpart to that, by the way, is Mossad. And, once upon a time, the United States was seen as the only superpower after the fall of the Kremlin and what was known as the Soviet Union. Things are changing. The world has changed. In the last decade, a lot of things have changed. And the center of power and for the greater part of the millennia, Western powers and Western empires, it looks like they're about to fall. And biblical prophecy is about to be fulfilled, which is not surprising. Now, I have said quite a lot in saying this because Restore the Snyderverse is only reflective of many other movements which have been exposing and actually bringing down certain empires. So within the major theme that we're talking about here, which is the Western Empire, which is collapsing, before the Western Empire was the Roman Empire, And that collapsed eventually. And before that, we had other empires like the Persian Empire. We had the Grecian Empire. Then we had the Persian Empire that was before that. And then we had the great Jewish Empire, where King David ran things for a minute. And then we had, before that, we had the Egyptian Empire. And we had several other empires in between, but we had the Egyptian Empire as well, which sort of ran things for a bit. And then we had, of course, the Sumerian Empire, also known as the Mesopotamian Empire. Sorry, the Mesopotamian Empire before the Sumerian Empire. Mesopotamian Empire, and then we had the Sumerian Empire, and then we had the Antediluvian era before the Great Flood. And we had what people call the Sumerian Empire now. That was the Antediluvian period. And we had other empires before that. So I'm saying all of this to say that every empire collapses eventually and implodes on itself and falls. Every empire. And this is not surprising that the empire that we know, the Western Empire, it's called the Western Empire because it's a combination of different empires that had their reigns at different times. And the Western Empire is now imploding and it is falling apart. And what is rising out of the ashes is the Russian, Chinese, and Middle Eastern powers, as well as Africa. They are all rising up now as the replacement empire for the previous empire that was there. They're going to be the predominant powerhouses of the future. And what's happening is this Western Empire of Europe and America, of which their satellite base in the Middle East was Israel, is collapsing. So it's falling apart. And again, how this transpires and what exactly happens with this is going to be very interesting, but we're watching it collapse in front of face. And this does not mean that the United States of America will not have a certain sway in the international community. Still, it's still vital, but one, it's not the major military presence of the world anymore. Two, it's not going to be perceived as that. Two, it's advertising of democracy under the guise of democracy, but really it's all about capitalism, and not just about capitalism, but actually about authoritarianism and totalitarianism, but flashing sort of like the lamb-like beast, as they call it in the biblical writing, flashing this beautiful philosophy of democracy, but actually it's a lie, the beautiful lie, and that we saw in Batman v Superman, and really pushing dictatorism and totalitarianism, fascism underneath all of that, but sort of cocooning people within its society and blinding them so that they believe that it's actually democracy that it's sending to the world, but it's all a lie. So the world doesn't like that. And they're actually going to kick against that. And so a lot of institutions that are put in place, the United Nations, which seems powerless to stop the war in Gaza, when they should be able to do that because they're a League of Nations, it's the world. They shouldn't be just their hands, tied behind their backs and they can't do anything about it. They're supposed to be able to intervene. They should have intervened many, many, many months ago. The United Nations has NATO, they have the Security Council, they have many, many arms, from the World Health Organization to, specific United Nations programs for relief and so on. It has so many resources available to it, but yet the United Nations is not able to take action against Israel and take action against what is happening, as they did in Sarajevo and Yugoslavia and Chechnya. They can't do that. You're kidding me? So we're seeing the fundamental flaws in these systems that have been put in place by the empire, the Western Empire. These systems are not working. And I'm going to take a drink while I'm doing that. I'm going to drink a LIVE drink while I'm walking around talking to you guys. But the fact of the matter is that it's this scary notion that it's not effective, and it's only in place for completely in place for white people, to say it very bluntly. Racism is still there. This is why George Floyd was murdered in front of everyone. And no one, I mean, absolutely no one came to his rescue. Everybody stood by and watched him get murdered, and no one took action. And that's exactly where they want us. They don't want us acting. Hold on a second. Okay. It's scary. You have to do something. And that's what I'm here for. So, we as fans did something. When it comes to that multi-billion-dollar company, Warner Brothers, we took action. The people of the world are protesting what's happening in Gaza. And the leadership, the corporate leadership, the capitalist-driven corporate leadership of the world, who push this racist agenda, because both the people in Palestine are poor, and they're not seen as white. A double whammy right there. So the people of the world, you, me, we started to take action. We boycotted any products that have to do with Israel and the occupation. We have also boycotted, now we just boycott all Israeli products. We also speak about what's happening and we protest. We have to continue educating people. And the other thing we need to do, in the United States of America, we have to give ourselves a chance. The only candidate who is anti-genocide right now, anti-war, is Jill Stein. She's a credible candidate that could win the elections if she gets, because she has enough states to be able to get to the 270. So she can get to 270 of the electoral vote. So all you guys got to do is spread the word, just like how we did with the Snyderverse. Influence people to vote for Jill Stein. Early voting is going on now, so you guys should get to it. Start voting. Make sure you vote for Jill Stein. And all the talk about the polls. We learned with Donald Trump, polls don't mean shit. Polls didn't work the last time. This race needs to be between Jill Stein and Donald Trump. Kamala Harris is part of the is part of the actual regime right now, the current regime, that's allowing this genocide to happen and actually funding it. And she said without any qualms that she's going to fund Israel, which means she's going to fund the genocide. So there's not going to be any change just because she comes to power. So she's already limited herself, and she's not going to win the elections. Donald Trump's going to win the elections if people do not vote for Jill Stein. This is the election. I know it. I have confidence in you. It doesn't matter. I told you, she's a wild card. She's going to come from behind and take everything. But to do it, you got to be convinced. Your opponent, your adversary, is going to come out there and say this. It's going to say, if you vote for Jill Stein, you vote for Donald Trump. That's not true. If you vote for Jill Stein, you vote for Jill Stein, period. You didn't vote for Donald Trump. Right? You vote for who you vote for. Some people are saying she doesn't have a shot. She does have a shot. But here's the thing. You guys got to show the people out there what she's about. They're going to come with these stupid arguments like, oh, she was at the same table with Vladimir Putin. It's a stupid argument. She was cleared by Congress. She never spoke to Putin. Never once. She came there to address climate, the wars, etc. So all that hogwash, how she's Putin's puppet and all that bullshit, it doesn't fly. They'll come with, she's taking Kamala Harris's votes. No, she's not. Kamala Harris doesn't have any votes. People choose who they want to vote for. And right now, most of the Muslim people, most of the Arab people are not going to vote for Harris. She did it. By her actions and by what she said, she's eliminated those people from the equation. Has nothing to do with Jill Stein. The labor movement backs Jill Stein. Young people back Jill Stein. The Islamic community backs Jill Stein. So there are a lot of people who are going to vote for Jill Stein. So it's very imperative that you guys get strategic about it. And just the same way how you were able to get the Snyder Cut out there, now it's time for you to get Jill Stein into the Oval Office. Now, the question will be, we all know this. Jill Stein is not somebody who can be bought. So if she gets anywhere near the presidential area, it looks like she's going to win. We have to be ready so that she's protected, because they're going to look to assassinate her. They'll look to kill her. And Butch Weir. They'll look to threaten them. So how do we ensure that Jill Stein lives and isn't assassinated? Well, there are 3 different ways. One, there are the veterans. The veterans who do not like what's happening, and they know from the Iraq War what went down. Veterans who are experts in war and warfare and urban warfare need to be used as the perimeter security for Jill Stein. They need to be on duty and on call 24/7. That's how she'll be protected. Secret Service will not protect her. They all, Secret Service, CIA, all these people are part of the deep state. So NSA, CIA, all these information people, they're not going to protect Jill Stein. Jill Stein will be at odds with them from the get-go. The CIA and all these letter organizations, they're the ones responsible for the assassination of JFK and Robert Kennedy. So you can't trust the deep state. The policies, the American policy, and that's why I said it's an empire. That policy never changes, no matter who goes into power. They run it like an oil engine, and Jill Stein is looking to change that official policy line. She's looking to do something different. So she's going to be an enemy of the state. Okay? So she's seen as a hostile enemy of the state. Very much so. Okay, now Zack Snyder is the same thing with Hollywood. Hollywood sees Zack Snyder as hostile. They are very hostile towards Zack Snyder, and they have been, because he's a director that exposes things. And we're learning that politicians have been involved in sex scandals and sex rings and pedophilia. The very president, Joe Biden, has been with minors. This thing is ugly. And this is used as leverage to control these people, so they don't talk about certain things at all. Now, it's very important to understand that having dirt on people is not enough. So anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about. Restore the Snyderverse. So with Restore the Snyderverse, it's a collective of us that made that difference. It wasn't any individual. It was a collective of us. And similarly, how are we going to achieve success with Restore the Snyderverse? Release the Snyder Cut was a collective. And with Restore the Snyderverse, it's the same thing. It's going to be a collective of us that make that difference. Of course, the company, Warner Brothers, is struggling to get any DC branded product out there that can wow the audience and get something. Joker backfired. I believe the sequel to The Batman is going to also backfire. Even though The Batman was lucrative, I do believe that the second Batman sequel will flop. And the reason this is happening is because a mandate was put towards Warner Brothers that they were supposed to restore the Snyderverse. The mandate was set out in 2021. The company has never taken that mandate seriously. And every single DC film since that time has flopped. Think about what I'm saying. And so Just like how we have boycott, divest, and sanction. Now, similarly, there's a boycott going on DC. And not only DC, but Warner Brothers even. And Warner Brothers is going to suffer for not listening. Now they're trying to reintroduce, you can see they're trying to reinsert and reintroduce Zack Snyder back into the fray. You know, he got these articles on Inverse. You saw him speaking about superheroes, like I said before. You see more of Zack Snyder. You know, he's done Twilight of the Gods, was very successful. His Rebel Moon was controversial, but successful as well with Netflix. His Army of the Dead was successful. So Zack Snyder's been riding a wave of success, and anybody affiliated with Zack Snyder, like Army of Thieves did well. You know, the affiliated movies and programs that were associated with Zack Snyder were also successful. So you could tell that certain people in Warner Brothers would like to have Zack Snyder there, but it seems to be blocked by the higher ups. James Gunn's Superman movie, I believe, is supposed to come out next year. And I don't know how much hype is for that because I don't follow what's happening with James Gunn and his Superman movie. I just don't follow it because I'm not interested in that stuff. So if that flops, which more than likely will, they need to have a backup somewhere, or else DC's on the shelf for a long, long time, especially if they don't get the Batman. They don't get Batman to work. And so Inverse has been sort of letting Zack Snyder kind of highlight that, you know, how superheroes can be challenged, how this ancient, you know, mythos of the, you know, the Greek gods and the Roman gods and the Nordic gods and so on, how it translates into the modern superhero movie, you know, biblical things as well. And how the modern superhero movie can be relevant to us today. And you have to challenge, you know, you have to challenge these heroes, you know, at every turn. You know, you have to challenge them. Because if you challenge them at every turn, then it shows how relevant certain values of them and even the tropes that we hold so dear about them, if it can stand up to the test, you know, we can be in good stead. Somebody has come to here. Guy's called Fuck USA. And Fuck USA says, bro, the Snyderverse is completely dead. Rebel Moon backfired. It was bad. And Gonna new universe is what's gonna happen now. And the Batman 2 is going to be great. Snyder is not coming back. Fuckaway says guns. Okay, so I guess this is a James Gunn fan. And, you know, thing about it is, my friend, it doesn't matter what you say. Talk is cheap. It's what actually happens. So you, I guess, are enamored by James Gunn stuff, and you're hoping and praying that things will work out, which is fair enough. I mean, I'm not interested in James Gunn stuff, so I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about restore the Snyderverse, and I stay in my lane. I don't have anything to say about James Gunn and his universe. I really don't talk about that, you know. If you love, James Gunn stuff, I love it, but it was bad. It had too many mistakes. Yeah, if you love James Gunn stuff, bro, more power to you. But here's the thing. If you're not into the Snyderverse and all of that, stay in your fucking lane. Stay in your lane. If you stay in your lane, and I stay in my lane, we don't have to twain meet. You see what I'm saying? But when you come across in my lane, trying to talk about my stuff and what I love, right? And I don't love your stuff, so I don't talk about your stuff. You know what I'm saying? You just understand. Because I love what I love, I'm going to be authority on what I love. So if you don't come correct, I'm going to check you. And you're going to look stupid. You know what I mean? But as I said before, I'm not really interested in James Gunn stuff. That's not never was my thing. I think the only thing I actually liked about James Gunn was Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I didn't even like Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I didn't find it. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with Groot. When Groot was when he was dancing in the beginning, that was hilarious. With Ego, the planet. It's good. That was a good little flick because I like the fatherhood, and how Star Lord realized that a father is not just somebody who's biological, but it's a father. A father is someone who raises you, and I thought it was really just a great film for that reason. And it made me laugh in the beginning. But really, everything else James Gunn has done just never really felt it. I get annoyed by his movies because he curses for curse sake, and it's so, for me it's very superficial. It's very it's not funny to me. It's annoying. Fuck USA says you got to be optimistic with the future. This new DCU is gonna be great. I love all Snyder stuff when he started, but being real, it's dead and it's flooped sadly. You didn't like Guardians 3? Yeah, so anyway, like I said before, bro, I'm not really into James Gunn stuff. Like, that's just not my thing. You know what I mean? I'm not even gonna try and like I'm not even gonna try and pretend like I like his stuff. I don't really like his stuff. Um so his Superman movie is just like it's everything I just don't like about movies. Like his stuff just really is irritating to me. I don't like watching his stuff. Um So you didn't like Guardians 3? I didn't even watch Guardians 3, far less like it. Like I just saw the ad on it and I was like, I'm not watching that shit. I don't like cheap stuff. The suits look cheap. The movie's funny-ish. It's too hee hee ha ha for me. He's trying to be tough. He's trying to make the characters tough, but they look stupid. I mean, how can a stupid looking character can't be tough? You know what I'm saying? So it's like for me, James Gunn's like, no, it's like womp womp. You know what? One of the movies that I liked about, well, James Gunn produced it. He didn't direct it. Was Brightburn. Brightburn was good. Brightburn was good. I enjoyed it. It was a horror. It scared the shit out of me. It was great. It was a version of Superman that was just evil. Yeah, Brightburn. Yeah, you should check that out. That's cool. Fuck away. Fuck USA says I hope you like Superman at least when it comes out. Bro, I'm not watching Superman. What part of that do you not understand? I do not enjoy James Gunn stuff. So I'm not gonna be watching Superman. Why would I watch something that I know I'm not gonna like? Like that's not I have a certain taste in movies, right? You have to know yourself. You know what I'm saying? So if that's not your thing, bro, what you going to watch something that's not your thing for? You're putting yourself in a position to be negative. I don't need to be in a position where I'm negative. I like to think positive all the time. So I would not go and watch that. Why would I go watch something that I know I don't like? I just don't like it. All the ads, everything he's put out about that Superman movie. I don't like it. I just don't like it. So it's like it just does not resonate with me. Some people may resonate with, and more power to you. I mean, that's what movies are for, entertainment. Go enjoy yourself. But I mean, when it comes to entertainment, James Gunn just does not do it for me. You know what I mean? Like I said before, the only James Gunn movie I've really enjoyed was Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Not the first one, with that stupid dance off at the end. It just annoyed me. um, not nothing. I saw some of his Suicide Squad movie. I hated it. It sucked. You know what I mean? However, it's not that I don't like comedy. Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool and the Wolverine had me rolling. Had me rolling engine. Right? It's just James Gunn's comedy just does not resonate with me. To me, and almost every movie he does is a comedy, and it's just not funny. His humor is just not. It's not my thing. I don't enjoy it. Fuck USA says I like Brightburn too. Yeah, Brightburn. Brightburn is just Man of Steel with a twist where Superman's actually evil. You know, people saying, Zack did evil Superman. Zack never did evil Superman. You know what I'm saying? Fuck USA says it was a cool idea. Fuck USA says I assume you would review it or something. No, I'm not reviewing that shit. Fuck no. That's just not my thing. What you gotta stop trying to force people to watch things they don't want to see. Like I don't want to see that stuff. You gotta understand that. That's just not my thing. Why would I go? Why would I go in the cinema to see something I don't want to see? You understand what I'm saying? You have to know yourself, and that is just not. That's not your thing. That's not my thing. James Gunn's stuff just does not appeal to me. It's not my. It's not my thing. I don't even like anything I've seen of it, to be honest with you. So I definitely passing on that shit. Listen. I remember going into the cinema to see Wonder Woman 84, December of last year, Christmas Day, right? I went and I saw that movie. It started off okay, and then it just took a huge dump on everybody. I left that cinema laughing, but laughing at the movie, okay? I don't need that experience. I don't need to be going into the cinema to see something that's so bad for me. In my taste in movies, so bad that I had to laugh all the way to the cinema just to say, okay, because I know I wasted money on it. I don't need to do that. Fuck USA said, did you like the first Suicide Squad? You mean David Ayer's Studio Squad? It was entertaining. I think I went and saw it 4 times or 3 times or something. It was entertaining. It was schizophrenic, but it was entertaining. But again, that first Suicide Squad fundamentally was just something was wrong with that film, and you felt it from the beginning. And I haven't watched the Suicide Squad, that first Suicide Squad movie, forever. I've never gone back to watch it since then. Fuck USA says, I'm forcing you, fam. Just having a conversation. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Fuck USA says, just wondering why you're not optimistic. I love Snyder, but you just didn't work. I wish it did because the cast was perfect, but damn, what else than wins? You feel me? I don't understand what you're saying. You're confusing. I think what you trying to say, I don't know, man. You have to retype that shit because you're not writing properly. But Zack Snyder's been hitting home runs for the longest while. His movies are controversial, so that will happen. But Man of Steel was a home run, and Man of Steel to this day is a classic. And a lot of people, the longer the longer these movies, you look back at these movies, the better they seem to become. They get finer, like fine wine. So for me, Man of Steel is like fucking phenomenal movie. You know what I mean? Batman v Superman always been at the top of the bar for me, whether it was theatrical or otherwise. The Ultimate Edition is dope as hell. I watched it recently. Incredible movie. It is what it is. And then of course Zack Snyder's Justice League is just a killer movie. I mean, I think it's his best work today. So when you're talking about, smash the like button if you're gonna talk with me though. When you're talking about top tier, top of the line movies, I think Zack Snyder just keeps on hitting those bars, man. The problem is the studio; they keep on fucking him over. Warner Bros. Fucked him over with Justice League. They fucked him over with BVS with the theatrical cut. They just keep on fucking the guy over. The guy's supposed to do 2 more movies. They won't allow him to do the 2 more movies. I mean, if you're gonna be like that, I mean, so, they're trying to go in this direction with DC, and it just doesn't hit the cylinders. The vocal minority who have been talking against Zack Snyder and talking about They don't want to see his stuff and whatever. They have not been supporting these movies in the theater that they talk about. All the movies they say are glorious and great, those movies just flop so hard because the Warner Bros. Has shifted since 2017. They shifted to the direction these people wanted, and you're not getting anything because the majority of people were excited about what Zack Snyder was bringing to the table. They're not excited about what the other direction that the studio wanted to go in. You know, you look at the Batman that they brought to the table in The Flash. That's the same Batman, the same fucking Batman that we saw in Justice League. In the theatrical cut, that is. That is not a Snyderverse Batman. That is not the Batman from Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's not the same. No matter what they say, continuities, but that's bullshit because that Batman, the Batman in Zack Snyder's Justice League and the Batman in BVS did not stutter or stammer. Did not talk all this bullshit to try and get jokes. Right? So we know that is the same Batman from Justice League, the theatrical cut. We know that's the same Flash from Justice League, the theatrical cut. Same Wonder Woman from Justice League, theatrical cut. So they were just doing a continuity, and they call it the Snyderverse. That's not the Snyderverse. That's some bullshit. I don't know what the fuck that was. So why I say the Snyderverse still exists because there's still the demand and there's still the discussions for the movies of the Snyderverse. And when we talk about the Snyderverse, we're talking about Man of Steel, BVS, Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman, not 1984. Okay, Wonder Woman. We're talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's what we're talking about when we talk about the Snyderverse. Not talking about no other movies. You know what I'm saying? So the Snyderverse be doing great. People talking about it all the time. The fact that you even talking about it, fuck away USA, shows me that, hey, you still consider the Snyderverse there. No matter what you say, you can keep on repeating yourself. The fact that you have to address this issue shows me you're not serious about the Snyderverse being dead. You know it's still alive. It's alive in a lot of people's mouths because a lot of people talk about it all the time. So Brad Coran came out and he said the following things. He said, 1, the movement Restore the Snyderverse is still around. 2, he talked about the toys. He talked about the DVDs. They sell out rapidly. Todd McFarlane, he did some figures. He did some Zack Snyder Justice League figures. And in the New York Comic Con, it was sold out within minutes. Minutes. All his toys are done. Sold out. Now, why is that? Nothing else that Warner Bros. Has, nothing else that DC has sells out that fast. All right, here's the other point. Point number 3. Why is Inverse having Zack Snyder edit how superhero movies are, personally ambivalent superhero movies? You know, why is Zack Snyder doing a whole set of pieces on superhero movies? He interviewed Frank Miller. He talks about how, you know, places that superhero movies don't go that need to go. Why do you think that was happening? Why would Inverse have Zack Snyder speak on superheroes? Why is he the guy that's hired to do that and edit stuff? I'm just asking. Let's go a little further. We roll back into time. Abdi and DeLuca. They let Zack Snyder put out his trilogy of DC movies. That is to say, the Man of Steel, the DCEU movies, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? They had it as Full Circle, right? Now, it's not James Gunn. It's Abdi and DeLuca did this. Zack Snyder goes out, he does it. I think that was the year before last year, right? Full Circle. Why would Warner Bros. Do that? Dan, think about this. Listen to what I'm saying. Joker flopped. Todd Phillips' Joker flopped. It's a box office flop. The only DC film that I know of with sequels after Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy, the only sequel that has been successful in cinemas has been BVS after Man of Steel. No other sequel has been successful. No Suicide Squad sequel that wasn't successful. Wonder Woman sequel wasn't successful. Right? Fuck Away USA says, did you like Matt Reeves' Batman movie? No, of course not. No, I didn't enjoy it. It was okay. I didn't enjoy it. It's boring. It's a boring piece of shit. I saw it. It was boring. Because it brought nothing seriously new to the table. Matt Reeves just rehashed Batman and did what he did. The animated series was better. The animated series was better, but even that again was just a safe movie, a safe series. I thought it was gonna be something, more explicit and more edgy, pushing the hero. Nope. Boring. I'm telling you, Matt Reeves' sequel for his Batman movie, I don't see it really doing well. I think it's going to tank. Just like Joker 2. Here's what it is. Fuck Away USA says, the reason I say it's dead is because Affleck is definitely not coming back for more Batman. Cowboy wasn't treated right. I doubt he'll come back. We all know what happened with Ezra. Now, a great idea is, first of all, you can't say never because they said the Snyder Cut would never see the light of day, and it did. Right? So you can't say never. That's just not that's not a word. 2, if Zach comes back, they all will come back. If Zach comes back, they all will come back. Ezra Miller, Ray Fisher, Gal Gadot. But see, think about it, y'all talking about everybody but Ray Fisher. If I don't see Ray Fisher back, then it's not on. But if Ray Fisher is back, then it's on. Period. Why I tell you the Snyderverse will continue is because so far there's no alternative that is working. Everything else that they try is failing. Everything else that Warner Brothers try is failing. And the company itself is failing quite badly. This year they have had a lot of flops. The only thing that's really actually worked out for them is Beetlejuice so far. Fuckaway USA says revisiting Snyder's universe in something like Booster Gold would be a great idea. You have Booster fall in the universe or something like that. Sounds something like that could happen. By the way, my name is Fuck You Say. Fuck USA. Fuck you say. I don't know what you mean. Anyway, so as I was saying again, Zack Snyder's Justice League already set the foundation for what's happening next. Booster Gold, fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Booster Gold, first of all, Booster Gold is funny. Booster Gold is a funny sort of movie. So to launch the Snyderverse back through Booster Gold would be just shit. That would be a shitty way to do things, in my opinion. Just my opinion. So I wouldn't want that to happen. You remind me of a good friend I went to school with that passed away. I like talking to you, bro. Okay. So anyway, the point I'm making is this. That it's inevitable that the Snyderverse is going to be restored. It's inevitable. The company cannot survive without the Snyderverse. Their biggest selling items, their DVDs, their movies, the resale value of Zack Snyder's stuff is just what it is. They make a lot of money off of Zack Snyder's stuff. You know? So they don't have no money. Right now, I think Warner Brothers is at under $8 a share. They're going down, and they're going down hard. And I couldn't care less, really. But when it comes to DC and DC properties, I have zero excitement for what's coming up. Because, as I said before, and again, this is just what it is. What James Gunn is bringing to the table is something that I don't care for. What the slate of films and movies and TV stuff that they're rolling out, nobody asked for, and nobody's really enthusiastic about. You could try and make yourself enthusiastic about that shit, but nobody's jumping up and down to the ceiling and be like, oh my God, I want to see this. Nobody. And that's bad. Fans are supposed to be fanatical about shit, and that's not what's happening. Nobody's fanatical about nothing. DC has been lost. Marvel been doing stuff. Marvel been getting people excited. You know what I mean? They went through a little rut, but they got people excited now. But it's DC ain't got nothing going on. Nothing. It's dead. DC is dead. Snyderverse is dead. DC's dead. You know what I mean? Nobody talking about DC like that. Right? Nobody's talking about DC like that. DC is dead. But when it comes to like the Snyderverse, people be talking about the Snyderverse all the time. All the time. The money in the merchandise was insane. The toy lines are crazy with Snyder's universe. Yep. They make mad money off of the Snyderverse all the time. All the time. You know, and that's what happens when you make good movies. When you make good movies, no matter what the critics say, when you make good movies, they stand the test of time. One, people are always talking about them. And two, you make a lot of money off of them. The same thing Warner Bros. Wanted. They wanted their toys sold, and they wanted the kiddies to this, to that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. Zack Snyder delivered that in spades. In spades. Okay? And he's still delivering it to this day. And guess what? The toys that are being sold are expensive toys. We talking hot toys. We talking statues. We talking memorabilia. We talking signs. That's the kind of shit that Zack Snyder be selling. High ticket items. Very expensive. And people are buying them. In this economy, people still buying that shit. Because the demand is so great. Blu-rays and DVDs. I mean, Zack Snyder be making the money. He turn it over. So, I mean, it is what it is. You know, if people are talking about, oh, the Snyderverse is dead. No way. That's hard to happen. Everything else is dead. And let me say this again. It has nothing to do with people don't like this director or they don't like that director. Or they only support Zack Snyder. It's not that. Okay? It's not that. Is Zack Snyder has his way of exciting people. Twilight of the Gods really did it well for Netflix and still doing well. You know, that series is doing extremely well. And the reason being that, again, and a lot of people approve of it and a lot of people like it because, once again, it's Zack Snyder working with it. You got Zack Snyder, Jay Oliver, etc. And Zack Snyder does not hold back. If you let Zack Snyder do what he need to do, he don't hold back. He go hard. You know, Ryan Reynolds. What I like about Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool and the Wolverine, is Ryan Reynolds does not hold back. He don't pull no damn punches, right? He don't let a studio allow him to pull punches. So Ryan Reynolds go hard in the paint. When he going hard, he going hard. You know what I'm saying? Same. If you let Zach do what he do, go hard in the paint, do what he do, the shit just be crazy, right? We saw what a dial-back Rebel Moon looked like, and then we saw Zack Snyder's version of Rebel Moon. Which one's better? Obviously, Zack Snyder's version of Rebel Moon. Know what I'm saying? Fuck you say, says WB is dead, and he's laughing. Yeah, pretty much. Fuck you says the toys are great because the suits were great. No, man. It's because people love the movies, man. They ain't just buying shit because they want to buy shit. It's a part of history too. Zack Snyder's Justice League is a part of history. It's the time when Hollywood was buckled by the fans. The fans pushed through and made things happen. That's the power we have. And it's the same thing with elections. It's the same thing with what's happening in Palestine. If the bulk of you, if the majority of the world does not agree with something, take action. And you will press change. Because you have the numbers. And you are the consumer. You have to remember these things. Just because people give you information doesn't mean you have to accept the information. You can do your homework and find out if it's true or not. It's part of critical thinking. Fuck you says you saw how in BVS Batman can turn his neck, and when Snyder left, he couldn't anymore. Yeah, there you go. But I think though they hired some other set of people to do the suit for even Zack Snyder's Justice League. They didn't hire the same people. I don't know what happened. I'm guessing the people who did the turn the neck shit, they fucked them over because this business is dirty like that. You know what I mean? It's dirty. Don't forget to smash the like button, people. I am an hour and 8 minutes in. I got to get out of here. I got so much more to say, but let's just talk about the empire falling apart. Those of you who don't know about that, well, here we go. So, the reason why the United States is so hostile towards China, and have been for a good minute, is because China's economy is rising and rising rapidly. And Chinese are ahead of the curve when it comes to electric vehicles. You would think it's Elon Musk and Tesla, but nope. Elon Musk is left in the wake. The Chinese, are making much cheaper EVs, better EVs, and they're exporting it all over the world. The Chinese are starting to dominate. When it comes to clean energy and clean energy products, they're dominating the world in that because they've invested their money in that. The Chinese, their economy is rising very rapidly. With BRICS on the horizon, it makes the Chinese a very powerful superpower. And this is why the United States of America wants to be, of course, the superpower when it comes to economy. They want to be the superpower when it comes to intellectual brain capital. They want to be the superpower when it comes to military. So this is why they're attacking China. It's called hegemony. They want to be the only superpower out there. They want nobody else running the show. And so they're using China's connection to Taiwan to try to threaten China not to invade Taiwan. But China's not going to invade Taiwan. That's a whole other story. But they're trying to make China and the Chinese look like they're a threat to the world. They're not a threat to the world. Okay. Point number 2. And if you see China's cities and stuff, it's beautiful, clean, efficient. You know, it's different. You don't get robbed in China and that kind of stuff. Furthermore, Russia. Now, the reason why NATO is attacking Russia and the whole reason why this Ukraine-Russian war is even happening is because Russia is the most powerful military superpower in the world. It's not America. America is not the greatest superpower in the world, and they're not the greatest business hub in the world anymore. A while back, China overtook them. So the Chinese are the greatest economic power in the world right now and growing. And the Russians are the greatest military power in the world right now. And when it comes to intellect, the most creative and intellectual powers in the world, again, are not America. Isn't that amazing? I think in terms of education, they are like 15th in the world or some shit like that. So America calls itself a superpower and so on, but it's actually behind a lot of countries in the world. And the way how America influences countries in the world is to fund coups, to have what is called regime change. And usually the regime change hurts the country, but increases relations between businesses in the United States of America and the dictator that is put in its place, because usually it's a dictator. Latin America has suffered very heavily from that. And right now, America is trying to force regime change in Venezuela. They tried for many, many years to force regime change in Cuba as well. So they've done it to a greater extent in Latin America, not so much in Africa, even though they've had intel on what's happening in Africa. That's generally the other Western empires. The French really moved very, very evil and wickedly with the African countries. The Germans, as you know, they dealt very evilly with the South Africans. And you have many, many others. Okay. The Spanish did their share of evil as well. So these powers that I talk about, Germany, France, Spain, UK, the British Empire, and the United States of America, this is the Western Empire we speak about. And they have moved royally. They've moved very dirty and nasty with a lot of nations of the world. Fuck you, says, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm just saying, the quality inside the suits was perfect. Yeah. It's a very, very high quality. Now we don't get that kind of stuff anymore with superhero movies. It's some cheap shit. I hate it. Again, I hate that. So what we've had is a sort of dictator, authoritarian, totalitarian attitude towards the rest of the world by the United States of America. They felt they could just get rid of certain people, assassinate certain people. It's just been very nasty and very dirty. Even assassinate their own when it doesn't follow what they think it should be the policy of America with the world. So this is how it was an empire. If they had truly exported democracy in a peaceful way, influencing nations, like how the Arab Spring kind of came up, the world would have been so much more favorable to the United States of America, because people would have looked at America as a beacon of light to the world. But that's not what it's looked at. Let's tell people who go to the United States of America for opportunities. The people themselves that live in the United States of America, though they're somewhat arrogant, even though ignorant of a lot of things, they tend to be just like normal people everywhere. They're cool, pretty much, So the United States of America is not necessarily, the people at least in it, are not necessarily bad. Oh my God. The bullshit that is happening here right now. Okay. Put that there. So, I say all of this to say, hold on a second. Let me just. I say all of this to say that the U.S. led the world in things like technology, entertainment, etc. for a while, and the world got up to speed with technology and all these things with the internet and so on. And so now the playing field is much more level than it used to be. And so a lot of people don't need the United States of America again to do a lot of things, when it's commerce or otherwise. So what you find is that now people from all over the world can interface with each other, and because of that, America's not that necessary anymore. You see? And that's how Europe and all these places where they used to go study don't have to do that anymore. There's availability of information all over the world, and you can study all kinds of different places in the world. Go different places and see different things. So that has sort of decreased the dependency on the United States of America, and now these institutions that America sort of established to keep its grip and power over the world, they're falling apart. And that's why the Western Empire is also falling apart, because Europe as well is falling apart. Because now countries can do things that otherwise they would not have been able to do when they didn't have access to the information they have now. So that's what's up. So anyway, now that we've gotten through that, I'm going to wrap this up right here. I'll try and do another stream another time. I don't have enough battery power to continue talking to you guys right now, but I wanted to keep it in black and white. For those of you who are in America, you're citizens, and you're allowed to vote, vote for Dr. Jill Stein. She's American. She's a Jewish lady. And she really espouses and exudes the values that we need to have. And once she gets into power, she will implement the things that she said she's going to implement. The problem is, will she live long enough to implement them? We have to work on that to make sure that that can be covered. So, having said that, I am Christ, I am disciple. God bless you all. If you will care to donate, don't forget to donate. Most High always comes first. I'll see you guys later. Peace.